welcome back to Tabletop Thoughts. Today I'm going to show you how I made these Underdark terrain. First, we are going to start with these wooden pieces. I got these from the Dollar General. They were on sale for 25 cents after Valentine's Day. So if you go in after the holidays, you can buy them. So now would be a good time, since I believe there are similar things available now for Easter. We are going to use this for the base of the piece because it is a very thin MDF chipboard type of material that would be a nice base for it. It won't warp like chipboard or something like that would. All I'm going to do is take my marker and draw on some rough shapes that we're going to cut out with these kitchen shears. Those scissors are a little bit thicker, so they're able to cut this thin wood material, but they're not, you could probably use a craft like an X-Acto knife, but you'd have to keep going over and over it. Well, these will just cut right through it with no problem. Once we have the base cut out, I will come in with my X-Acto knife and I am just going to clean up the edge, giving it a slight bevel, although it's not really needed because these boards are really thin, but just trying to clean up all of the little pieces that are splintered off and sticking out, just so it's not messy. I just want to clean up the edge a tiny bit. Now that we have our bases ready, we are going to start getting prepared to add to them. One of the things that we are going to add are these mushrooms. I got these from the Dollar Tree. They're just little wooden mushrooms over in the craft section. So we'll stick those off to the side. We are going to take a package of this Model Magic that we got at the Dollar General. We'll cut that open, and it is an air drying clay. It's more of like a polymer. It feels like more like foam clay than actual like earthen clay. But we are going to take that and we'll rip it into a few pieces, and what we'll do is we will add stalagmites to the bases just by rolling it into like a shape and then pushing it out on the mat. Then we will take it and add it to the base and then kind of feather it into the bottom, trying to get it to the shape that we want to make it look like a stalagmite. Here you can see I'm going to come in with this clay working tool. I got this at the Dollar Tree for there was a couple of pieces for $1. And I am going to add some lines and that into the stalagmites, just trying to give them a more realistic, natural look to them. I'm not sure how well it does, but you know, this is the part where you get to be a little creative and add to your build. Once we have the shape that we want, I'm just going to take my Shore Bonder glue gun, just apply some hot glue to the bottom of it, and then just glue it onto that wooden base. And then I will try to, flatten it out a little bit, feather it into the base to get it to look how I want. There'll be a little wisp here and there that you got to take care of, but we're just trying to fill out the bases right now. Now that I got a stalagmite on there, I'm going to take the glue gun and glue on a few of these mushrooms just in random locations. I didn't really worry about leaving space for a mini or anything like that because these are more meant to be terrain blocking scatter. Stuff that you would drop on the table and make the player characters then have to walk around it. So this is stuff that kind of you set on the table to kind of define the battle. Now that we have the bases done, I'm going to take this paper cup and I am going to put some generic PVA glue into it. After that, I will add some water to that, making a 50-50 solution, and we will apply that to the entire wooden base. I want to get a little bit of that glue up on the edge of the stalagmite because I want to kind of make it blend into the rest of the base. And with that solution in place, we are going to flock it with some small stones. Now that we have the base of our terrain glued, I am going to put it inside of this plastic container, and then I am going to grab my bucket of it's construction sand. It has real fine sand in it, some smaller pebbles and stuff like that, and I am going to dump that on top of our terrain, making sure I get all of the area covered, because this will be our base flocking for this project. I noticed a small spot that doesn't have the flocking on it, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue, and then I will go back over it with some flocking, and that should be it. And then we will set these off to the side to dry, and while we do that, we'll break for a small, quick commercial.
In the ruins of a forgotten temple, something watches from the shadows. Across the forest, ancient powers gather within the druid circle. Mix and match terrain and miniatures for limitless stories. Explore detailed terrain and creatures, all ready for your next game night. Bring your tabletop world to life. Shop DM David's Prints on Etsy today.
Once those dried, I took them outside, primed them black with a rattle can, and now we are going to apply this midnight blue color. This will be the base color of the stones and the stalagmites. We will go over, I think I start with like a dry brush on this, but eventually I'm going to wetten the brush a little bit more because I want to get like 80 to 90% coverage. You know, there could be some black spots that'll be like shadow in there, but I'm trying to get this blue color to cover most of the ground and the stalagmite. Once we have all of those painted, I'm going to take just a standard blue, put that onto my dry palette there, and we are going to dry brush that on top of the stalagmites and the rocks. I'm just trying to add a mid-tone color to all of these, just something that I'll catch the highlights and some of the ridges. So we will have a dark blue, and then we'll have this medium blue, and eventually we'll come in with a lighter blue, just hitting a couple of the stones and getting out some extra color. While the bases are drying, I am going to take some of this red color and I'm going to use a makeup sponge. I like them because the cells on it are real small, so you don't get a whole lot of like circles from the sponge. And we are going to just apply the red color to the sponge, and then we are going to start applying that to the caps of the mushrooms. This will give us like a contrast because the ground's going to be blue, and then we're going to add some different colors to the mushrooms just to give them some variety, but we want them to stand out a little bit. going to take this Ocean Breeze. It's like a light blue color. We'll put that onto our palette here. And then with a brush, we are going to work a little bit into the bristles, and then I am almost going to stipple this onto the tops of the mushroom caps just to add a little more color to these. I kind of want them to fit in. That's why I'm going back to a blue color, because I will also apply a light blue to the rocks in the ground to kind of tie them together. But I want this to tie the mushrooms to the ground, but have the red colors and that to also separate them from the ground. It's at this point, while I was doing some of the speckling, that I'm going to notice that some of the dry brushing that we've done and stuff like that some of the stones have fallen off. They've broken free from the glue. So what I'm going to do now is just take some of that original blue color that we used for the base, and I am going to apply that over all the holes just to bring it back into the normal colors. I'm going to make sure my brush is really wet here. That way the color will flow down into the holes and spread out. I don't need to be dabbing like a blob of paint on it. I'm almost like I'm dyeing the underground stuff to the same color. Now that we've let that dry, I am going to come in with this dark turquoise, and we'll drop some of that onto our paper plate palette. And we are going to use that as the highlight color for the base. So we just want to catch out some of the bigger stones. I'm barely dragging it across, and you can see that it's just a little bit of color. We're going to also apply this to our stalagmites because we're trying to tie those into the ground, but we're trying to, have a little bit of pop, something that catches the eye from the base. With that all done, I am going to take this purple color and I am going to use that to paint the stems of the mushrooms. That way it's going to be a dark purple, so it'll stand off from the base, but it's still relatively close in the color wheel that they kind of tie in together. So I don't want it to, just stand completely out, but I want it to be enough different that, you do notice that they are separate. And with that, we are going to call these terrain pieces done and ready for the table. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the next video right here. It's packed with more great content. And as always, keep on gaming.